Hey everybody, it's Bob. So today we're going to go over some things that have sold recently. This is more of a kind of why did this sold or what's interesting about the sale versus hey, look what I did. I'm going to try to explain each one that sold and then maybe something about it and why it sold to give you some more information and to throw some bolos out there because a lot of times that you see items that will sell, people talk about it, but then you're like, oh wow, that sold for $80, but why? And you don't know. I want to let you know why. So first thing up is this DVD player. I bought it at a garage sale, and I only paid $5 for it. It was kind of an interesting thing. A guy had 15 marked on it. I said, how much you asking? He said 5. I said, fine. Here's one of the interesting things about that is that I'm recommending is always look at sealed electronics. If it was a sealed if it was a sealed VCR player, which I've purchased before, I've sold those in excess of $250 a piece. People want those sealed VCRs. And you know, with VCRs now selling for $50, $60 used, the new ones in the box, they sell for great money. But even DVD players, MP3 players, anything new in the box like that, and that you may think is low value, still something to look at, something to check out, just because you never know. The second thing we had was this John Primble knife. You saw me get in the garage sale, I don't know, a couple weeks ago now. I cleaned it up as best I could. I only sold this knife for $28 with free shipping. This knife will typically sell in the $70 to $80 range. And I think it actually sold really low because it had some surface rust on it and had some defects. I still expect it to go for more. This is one of the downsides of auctions. Usually what I'll do is I'll start it where I want. And I think I probably should have started this more in the $40 to $50 range and then hope to get more. I started this a little lower than I wanted, and it really didn't sell for very much. As you can see, I only got 2 bids on it. So, unfortunately, that's kind of what happens with auctions sometimes. Most people say they're dead. I'm going to disagree. The next thing was the Nike Cleveland Brown shoes. I was really late to a garage sale. For whatever reason, they were still there. I'm not really sure why. I picked them up for $5. I stuck them on for $69.99. I expected them to sell closer to $80, but considering I couldn't sell them as new, I had to sell them as used. I'm happy with that, you know. So just because it's getting late in the day and you're at garage sales, don't discount what you might find. I have pulled so many good finds out of end of day garage sales. It's not even funny. And sometimes you can get a better deal on them because people are thinking, well, you know, I want to close up here in 20 minutes. And so they're willing to negotiate more because if they figure something's better than nothing. So late day garage sales are not always a bad thing. More than happy to go for those. The next thing I sold was the Ihop Hat. And it's just a baseball cap, nothing special. This was given to a store employee. I mean, you know, this is part of an employee uniform. Now, a lot of places do it. IHOP, DoorDash, pretty sure Uber, Wendy's, so Subway. There's all these places. They have all these hats. There's tons of them out there. Always grab them. They don't sell for huge money. I sell them for $14.99 typically with free shipping. Like I said, I put those in an 8x6x4 box from eBay. Ship them first class. It's an 8-ounce ship. And I usually clear $10 in my pocket. They're easy to list, they're easy to store, and they're easy to ship. So the thing about it is a lot of people lose the hats for their uniform. And then you get a new one. Well, if I remember right, like my daughter works at Carl's Jr.'s, it's $29.99 to replace her hat. Or you can buy one from me for $15 on eBay if I've got one. I don't right now, but I might soon if she winds up quitting. The other thing I had was a DoorDasher. Actually, I ordered DoorDash, and the next morning his hat was in my front yard. I called DoorDash. The hat was like brand new. and they wouldn't help me. So I eBayed it, and I mean that sucker sold in hours. So they sell quick, you know. So a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times they do sell pretty quickly. So you know, something to keep an eye on. The next thing up was that John Lennon print that was the 1995 John Lennon silkscreen lyrics of Nowhere Man. You saw that on one of my videos a couple weeks ago. I left the garage sale, and I left the garage sale, and I looked it up like for the third time after I left. I went back. They had 150 on it. I offered them $100 and they took it. I came home, I put it up. I did not sell it for $7.99. I actually sold it for $585, which is the offer that a gentleman made to me. Went and I bought, I was with free shipping. I just bought one of the, they have TV boxes at Home Depot or Lowe's, either one. They're kind of expensive, but they got the corners and everything else. You just put it in there, you close it up, you tape it. Super easy to ship. And for $585, I don't mind spending $20 on a box that I know is going to be safe. So that was, you know, once again, this was another late day garage sale I picked this up at. And I think it hadn't sold because they were asking $150 on it at a garage sale. You know, I walked back, I offered them $100. They didn't want to take it, but they did. And that put $485 in my pocket. Next up is a Guitar Hero controller. This is a Bolo as much as anything else. Pick these up. They do sell. The corded ones are super easy to test. You plug them in. Just Google something like game controller test, and you can literally test them online. Super simple to test. Super simple to use. You use the big flat square boxes from UPS. You put two of them together. Bam. You can used to be able to ship them like that. Now it's over 30 inches, so you get the big thing, but you can still ship them pretty easily, UPS or FedEx. This one sold for $79.99 plus shipping, and sold pretty quickly, actually. Wasn't too difficult. The only problem is UPS then turned around and lost it somewhere in Pennsylvania. So while it did sell, I do have a claim going on with UPS, but I've sold these over and over and over again. Great sellers, fast sellers. The drums sell. The guitar sell. The microphones even sell. They don't sell for a lot, but they do sell. So the Guitar Hero stuff, always something to grab. Next up is the Prosthetic Chest. Now, I actually got this out of a liquidation pallet. I was really surprised when I got this, and I didn't get one. I got 3 in total. And one was open. One was brand new in the box. And I'm sorry, one was already open, but it hadn't been used, and the other 2 were new and sealed in the box. And these are essentially prosthetic breasts for people going through sex transitions, drag queens, or women who had mastectomies. And I really never thought I'd sell these. And this is a perfect example of don't discount anything. Just because you think it won't sell. I've never had experience in this realm, so for me, this was like something that I was like really surprised people even bought. But I got thinking about it and it made a lot of sense. This is the last one I had. I sold all 3 of these. It took 6 months. And I sold 2 of them for $124.99. And the one that was the open box I sold for $109.99. Good reviews on all of them. So something to just, you know, always try to expand your horizons. Nothing more important than that. Okay, next up is a Saturn warmer. This is a late day purchase. I bought it from an estate sale. I didn't get there till 11:30, and this estate sale had been going on since Wednesday or Thursday, and I got there Saturday at 11:30. It was a half price day, and so I picked this up. I paid $12.50 for it. Not a really bad price. I put it on auction, and I put a lot of stuff on auction. I used to do a lot of auctions, and this is a perfect example why. I was expecting to get $120 to $150 for it. I noticed that it seems like a lot of them sold for $150 to $170, but the market's been a little soft, so I was kind of expecting on the low end. I have no idea why this went for $384. I did ship it for free, but I still have no idea why it sold so high. Great sale. Again, end of the day item. Always keep an eye out. Just because it's end of the day doesn't mean it's just junk left. It's surprising. I picked up, in the last few weeks, I picked up several baseball bats. Probably 7 or 8 at least, bare minimum. Probably more. I don't know. I haven't kept track, to be honest with you. Again, baseball bats, I don't play. Or actually, they're softball bats, and I don't play. I don't really know the equipment. I just know that softball is good. This is one of many that have sold. Most of them have sold. There's no point showing you each and every single one. But at $97, this one single bat paid for every bat I've bought this year. So, and I've been selling bats on an average between $50 and $150 per bat. So, something else just to keep in mind. You know, I don't play softball. I don't follow softball. I don't know anything about softball equipment. And you know, that's just definitely something to expand your horizons and keep looking. This is a good Bolos. Softball bats are great sellers. Next up, we have the Narda Vase. I am not a fan at all of art. I find it typically extremely hard to sell, especially framed art, and even art pieces a lot of times will be difficult unless you find someone that's got a really good following and it's really big. This Narda, she helped founded the school up in Washington. She's actually a relatively large artist. I'm surprised this piece sold, especially for, you know, $60. I just put it up there thinking, well, if it sells, great. She's not a huge artist. A lot of people don't know her. She's hard to find information on, but apparently somebody did. Even though it had this 80s styling to it, because this is a very 1980s style piece, you know, it sold. So that to me, that one was a surprise. This is kind of a bolo item. A lot of people know about this. A lot of people don't. This is a Panthers hat. I picked it up at a garage sale. I don't know, $1 or $2. It wasn't very much. One of the at the very least, if you don't want to sell hats, you don't want to know about hats, just look at vintage styles of hats. You know, because it's like, I think this is the Shockwave. Was it the Shatter pattern or Shockwave? There's like Shark Tooth. And at least get to know those patterns. You know, the basics. Because if you walk into a garage sale and you see a Shark Tooth hat, you're like, oh, that's probably $40 or $50 hat. They want $2 for it. You know you're going to make money. So this is more bolo. Always watch out for these hats, these vintage hats, because they're great sellers. People love them. And they sell fast. So there's, I don't know, a few styles, but once you look at them for a while, they're not that difficult to remember. And the flip side is they're distinctive enough that when you look at a regular hat and, like, you know, a Shockwave hat, you're gonna be like, oh, that's something. I may not know what it is, which was a situation when I bought this. I'm like, that's something, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna buy it because I'm pretty sure that's gonna have some value. So easy way to make some money, and it's something that you can actually use, because surprisingly I find a few of these hats every year. So it's knowledge it's worth having. Next up is the Coleman Stove. This sold a little low, I think. Well, at $70 it wasn't too bad. I probably could have got 80 or 90 had I been willing to wait a little more. But that's okay, because I paid 10 or 12. I don't remember. It wasn't very much. And I flipped it pretty quickly. This was on eBay for less than a week. Well, 1 week. It was on auction. And so these little camp stoves, super popular. When it's springtime, they sell really, really well. But they will sell the rest of the year too. And especially when hunting season's coming up, another great time to get them out on the market, because that's when the highest buying peaks on those are, it seems like. So you got spring and hunting seasons, but they sell year round. So and it's not just Coleman. There's other brands of these little camp stoves. Coleman's an easy one because there's so much literature online. Super easy to test them, that, you know, it's worth doing. Next up is here's a note to myself. This is a Pendleton Yakima twin size wool blanket. This came out of the estate that I purchased, the last estate I purchased, and to be honest, there was so much stuff coming out of that estate that was high end. I just had a ton of blankets and I didn't really look at them. I didn't pay any attention to them. So when I went hunting, and I was hunting in javelina, when I was hunting, I slept in the back of my pickup truck, which means I have that hard tonneau cover on the back of my truck. So I just left the tailgate down, but I wanted something to cover that opening, just to block out the airflow and wind and stuff, and give me a little privacy while I was sleeping. So I just grabbed a blanket that was laying in the pile of blankets, and it happened to be this one. And I had some clips, so I clip it on each side of the bed of my truck, just let it lay over, and then close the tonneau over it. It didn't hurt it, but had I known it was a Pendleton wool blanket, I would have used. I had a lot of blankets to choose from. This was just like the coolest looking one. Once I got out there, the first night I'm clipping it on, I come across Pendleton wool tag, and I'm like, dang, you know, I wish I didn't have this. So I was a little extra careful, and I kept it in good shape. But just a little note, even if you think something's junk, make sure it's junk before you throw it out, because you never know. And this is just another example of an item I thought was garbage that, hey, it was a good seller. I mean, you don't sell a lot of blankets for $79.99. Next up is this mantle clock. It's a Jurgensen, I think is how you pronounce it. Younghans. I think it's Younghans, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, here's a couple things. As you're going to notice, I misspelled mantle in the title, and I was just going very quickly trying to list this, so really screwed up, especially on a high dollar item like this. This did sell for $349.99. This is knowing styles. This is where I recommend knowing styles. So in this particular instance, this is a mid-century modern style. It's very mid-century. It worked. It was tested. Overall good shape. And it sold, of course, to California, because that's where all the mid-century stuff seems to go. And it's super hot in California right now, but it's also hot in Arizona because we're so close to California. But again, this was a clock that when it came in, didn't believe it to be very expensive, and then come to find out, it really was. But yeah, make sure you at least have a general idea of the styles, and you can date stuff. I mean, I looked at this, I knew it was 1950s, I knew it was mid-century, and I knew I was going to be able to sell it. I didn't think I was going to sell it for that much, but know your styles. That's what's important. The next item we come to is the Prince photo album. And I actually got this out of a storage locker a long time ago. I had a whole bunch of Prince stuff out of there. These people were huge Prince fans. And just it's been sitting in my storage for months, and actually probably over a year now. I just hadn't got to it. And so I pulled it out, and I really wish I would have gotten to it sooner, because I just figured I was just going to take all this Prince stuff that they had, put it all together, and then sell it as one big lot. What I found, you know, I'm not a Prince fan. I'm not a fan of his music, but what I found after doing all of the after doing all the research is I had passes, I had concert passes, I had event passes, I had obviously the photo album, I had a lot of CDs, and I just had a lot of little miscellaneous items. So I didn't even know this, but Prince had all these like extra things going on. And starting in like the early 2000s, and he had this special group that you could only buy certain CDs out of the special group. And I had several of them. I mean, I'm not going to bother showing them here, but I sold multiple CDs for $35-40 because they're just so rare, because you had to buy them out of the group. But like this photo album actually was an item that you would have had to buy out of the group, and which is one of the reasons it sold for $40, because you can't get it anywhere else. So, you know, I mean, I see Prince, I'm going to look at it again with a little bit closer eye, because there's a whole bunch of stuff like that that you just don't know about. And So the passes, as a matter of fact, the concert passes, there's one backstage pass I have like $80 on. I've sold a couple of the regular passes for $40 and $50. So that, you know, and that stuff sells. People still collect Prince. There's a huge following. So Prince items don't discount them before you're sure. That's all I'm warning you there. The next item up we had was Silverware. And this came out of that last estate also. I really thought this was all junk. And, you know, when I first looked at it, it's a very blocky, less than attractive pattern. And I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. So my first thought was, you know, toss it aside. I'll get it to Goodwill or get it to a thrift store. I do not like giving to Goodwill, but I'll get it to a thrift store or something like that. And that way it's out of my hair. Again, before, you know, when I'm making the actual thrift store bundle, I check everything before it goes in there. And the Silverware turned out to be a good seller. It's a popular brand. It's a recent brand. And I know you've seen me buy silverware on my previous videos, so it's just something to keep in mind. Always check the Silverware because it may be something good. If you can find stuff like Canoe Muffin also, you know, that's one of the better older patterns to sell, but a lot of the new patterns will sell really good too. So don't discount it. The next thing that I sold was a Marshall speaker. This come out of a liquidation pallet. And I actually listed it. eBay threatened me that they were going to suspend my account for trademark or patent infringement or something. A trademark infringement, I think it was. And so I had to go back and forth with eBay just because they send that to you. And it wasn't a Vero claim, mind you. It was weird. It wasn't like your standard, you know, you're in violation of Vero, blah 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 blah. It was completely different. But just because that happens, don't give up on it. You know, I approached eBay about it, and I went through Facebook Business because it's a lot faster. You can do it through basically, you know, the messenger, so you're not having to sit on the phone for 2 hours. And I got clear to relist it and resell it, which is exactly what I did, and it sold. So just because eBay may initially jump on you about something, don't give up on it. Just like Vero claims, you know, there are times that I will fight it with the right of first sale. If you're selling it new, you're going to have a lot of issues. If you're selling it as used and you sell it as the right of first sale, you know, I've had multiple manufacturers back down from a Vero claim because of that. And, you know, just make sure you're legal, but don't push it. If they keep going, let it go. There's no point being in a lawsuit that you can't win or you can't afford to win. The next thing up is these handicap buttons. So I purchased these at the bin store, and so I paid $10 for them. Now these things, when I bought them, were like $299.99, and I was kind of excited to get them, to be honest with you, till I got them home and I pulled everything out. I pulled the instructions out and I went through it. Now bin stores are, you know, as is where is, no refunds, no warranties. So, and I noticed like one of the main pieces was missing out of it. It still had the buttons, it still had a lot of the parts, so if you needed to replace that. And so and that's what I did. I just sold it as, you know, parts or repair only, not working, and replacement pieces. It took a while to sell, but it did actually sell. And considering I only paid $10 for it and I still tripled my money, you know, plus they paid shipping, so I can't complain about it too much. So if you do get something, it's broke, don't give up on it right there. There's always you may have backup possibilities to sell stuff. There's a lot of times like you'll buy like a juicer, for instance. I've had this happen where I bought a juicer, the juicer didn't work. Okay, so you sell the bowl, you sell the strainer, you sell the tool, you sell the this. You know, you sell it by the piece and you can make just as much money still, and you're not out. So don't always give up on broken items, because you just may be able to make your money back on. This is the next item is kind of, So this is a box that fits into the top of a table. You open it up and you can plug all your cords into it for like your laptop, so you can do your uh, all your networking and all the stuff through it. So you just have a single box in your table. I bought these at, I'm not gonna lie, I think I bought them at a garage sale, and I pretty sure I only paid $1 or $2 a piece for them. I wouldn't pay much for these because I know they're not going to sell very fast. And I bought 2 of them. This is the second of the 2. The other one sold actually just a few weeks before this one, and they've been in my inventory for almost 2 years. And this is a perfect example of don't give up. I'll put stuff in my inventory and I'll let it sit forever and ever and ever. Once I get to the point where I start looking at it going, okay, that's been there like 5 years, 4 years, it's going to go. But like these took almost 2 years to sell, I think. But hey, they sold. And I didn't have to throw anything away. They're going to go get a new life, and they're not going to the thrift store. So that was that's just an interesting thing to keep in mind. Not everything sells fast. I know some people want to turn everything in their store in 30 days. Good for you. If you can do it, more power to you. I try to keep a combination of long tail and fast sales. So I don't mind something hitting my store. It's going to take a long time to sell, even though I'm currently running out of room for that stuff. But what's nice is it seems when things will slow down, especially in the summertime, even if I'm still listing and still going, everything's slowing down in summer, for some reason I'll get a lot of those long tail items starting to sell. And so they'll help my overall sales. And then, of course, during Christmas, I clean out a lot of those long tail items because they do tend to sell during that time of year. So don't give up on stuff too fast. Just because it didn't sell in a week doesn't mean it's not going to. Now, the last item we have is, I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's for nailing through cement boards, is my understanding. This is something I sold for some friends of mine. And like I tell all my friends, because everyone's like, hey, can you do this? I got this. I need this. I'll sell one item for you for free. And that's it. And so this one, I told them they were going to get 1,000 out of it, because by the time I paid shipping, fees, taxes, I think my actual profit at the end of this is going to be about $40, if I'm lucky. Because I had to get this thing's huge. This thing's way bigger than it looks in the pictures. So I had to ship it. I think shipping was almost $85 by itself. And then by the time, with $1,300 on this one, I sold it on Bonanza, not eBay also. But which is really funny, because the only reason I have Bonanza is because it connects to eBay, and I never saw anything big there. But hey, whatever. So this is the thing. This is the way I do it. A lot of people know what I do, and they're constantly asking, hey, I got this, I need you to sell. Hey, I got this, I need you to sell. I don't, like I tell people, and after this particular one, because this one turned out to be a huge nightmare on my end, I'm limiting it to $500 total sales. So, because on top of that, there's a bunch of risk. I mean, if there's a chargeback in 6 months, that's on me. No. So I'm limited to $500. On top of that, I don't like selling for other people. If I sell and I collect a percentage, they're going to get about 35% of the sale price. So usually they get upset about that, is what it is. In the end, I think, like on this particular item, after my time that I put into it, including the driving and the packing, I actually tracked the person who ordered this down and called them to verify the order. So I put a lot of time into it. I think I'm working for about $8 an hour, $8 or $9 an hour, pictures, listing, I mean, it's not very much. So, but I did put a lot of extra into it just because this was such a high dollar item. Those are the 20 interesting items that have sold recently in the last few months. And like I said, I'm trying to throw out stuff that, hey, I can attach something interesting to it. Maybe you can get something out of. I try to put some bolos in there for you, and just some extra things to think about. Things people don't talk about a lot of times. and I'm hoping that, you know, maybe it will help you. Going back to the selling for other people thing, that's really difficult, and one of the reasons I don't like to do it is because there's so much bookkeeping that goes into that. Um, you know, you still got to pay taxes on it. You still got to do your bookkeeping, but then when you're selling for someone, you got to do basically a separate set of books that shows them what the entire breakdown is and what they get. And I just I don't want to do that extra work. So from now on, I probably won't be doing very much selling for other people. Anyways, I hope you found the information in here helpful and useful. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'm more than happy to chat about any of this. So thank you so much, and you have a great day. Bye.